I'd like to call the meeting to order. First thing is pledge allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thanks, everybody. I guess first thing on top of the agenda here tonight is the swearing in of newly elected officials. Chris is out here tonight to do that job for us.
Let's start with you. Raise your right hand. And just repeat after me.
I,
Please state your name.
Robert Anderson,
You solemnly swear
do solemnly swear.
or affirm.
For what?
Affirm.
Affirm.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
I will support the Constitution of the United States
And the Constitution of the State of Minnesota.
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota.
And that I will discharge faithfully.
I will discharge safely,
Faithfully.
faithfully,
The duties of the office of mayor.
the duties of the office of mayor
Of the city of Good Thunder.
of the city of Good Thunder,
And the county of Blue Earth.
the county of Blue Earth,
The state of Minnesota.
state of Minnesota,
To the best of my judgment and ability.
to my best judgment and ability.
Best of my judgment and ability.
My best judgment and ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, but
All right.
memorize, shouldn't
I.
I,
Name.
Goldsman,
You solemnly swear or affirm.
solemnly swear and affirm.
You solemnly swear or affirm.
And or affirm.
That I will
And
support
only me. I will support.
the Constitution of the United States.
Support the Constitution of the United States
Of the Constitution of the State of Minnesota.
and the Constitution of the State of Minnesota.
And I will discharge. Will discharge faithfully.
And I will discharge faithfully
The duties of the office.
the office
Of council member of the city of Good Thunder.
of the council.
Of the office.
Office of
Of
the
the
city council of Good Thunder
Okay. And the county of Blue Earth.
and the county of Blue Earth,
The state of Minnesota.
the state of Minnesota,
To the best of my judgment
to the best of my judgment
and ability.
and ability.
All right, third time.
Okay.
I. State your name.
John,
You solemnly swear.
you solemnly swear
Or
or affirm
I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Minnesota.
of the state of Minnesota,
And I will discharge faithfully
and I will discharge faithfully
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of council member of the city of Good Thunder
of council member of the city of Good Thunder
and the county of Blue Earth,
and the county of Blue Earth,
the state of Minnesota.
the state of Minnesota.
Yes, and my judgment and ability.
My judgment and ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you. All righty, before we get down to the agenda, I would just like to welcome John, Scott. And I'd also like to thank Sarah and Jim for the years of service over the past, well, I think Sarah 16 years, was it? Jim 8. So thank them for their service. And with newly elected guys, City of Good Thunder will march on. With that, we'll move on to approval of the agenda. Any additions, corrections to the agenda? Do we have to, are we gonna have a meeting, closed meeting after this? Would we announce that now?
If you have a closed meeting, I would announce it now, yes.
After the regular council meeting, we are gonna go into a closed meeting. Chris has some information on a project that the city is working on, so we'll close the meeting and everybody will be asked or will be able to be excused to leave. And we'll go into our closed meeting to discuss what Chris has received. So with that,
Pardon? So we follow the statute. The closed meeting is going to be for the purposes of litigation and client information. So we have that on the record.
okay. All right, anybody else with changes? If not, somebody make a motion to approve. I'll make a motion. John made it. On second. Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Sheriff's report. We got 57 hours, theft, welfare check, ambulance assistance, suspicious circumstance. Any other questions on that report? If not, we can move on to fire department. There was 10 calls, 1 gas leak and 9 medicals. Anybody got anything else to add to that? Scott, do you have anything? No.
Scott, when's the blood drive?
Was it 20,
Coming up, right?
23rd, 24th, something like that. I don't have my phones. Yeah, I don't have my phone either.
It's right on there. Can you see the date?
24.
24.
On one of the websites, it was wrong and we told them to correct it, so. No, we're winning, it was 24th,
What time is that going on? Scott?
12:30 to.
2.
I know they recommend to go online and do it instead of just showing up, so they can kind of plan ahead. So people that do it, go and do it online.
Register for an appointment.
You know,
All righty, with that said, street update, Race?
A lot of snow. And all that.
Yep.
Side of that, looks like we have a nice window of not having that snow, so. Hopefully I'll get to do something else other than that. But. And it,
Everything working fine, tractor, truck, everything, you know?
RDO is just out to, they replaced the seat because when I started it, it was. The suspension on it was crooked and the frame was all bent up and it's under warranty, so it was significantly cheaper to do that now as opposed to when it's out of that.
All right. Anybody else? Questions for Race?
I just want to say you've got a baptism by fire. So
Yes.
be better, doing well. Stay at it.
Yeah, any, chances are you'll be hauling snow out, or you're gonna take that out to the lagoon then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to get someone with more trucks. That'll take, if I do that alone, that'll take
Oh, I know it.
weeks.
Yeah.
So I try to make some phone calls.
All right.
You just line people up, or you don't have to actually get it approved by council, but.
I guess, there's enough snow that it just
Kind of
needs to go
emergency
away.
thing,
Yeah,
you
it
know.
just needs to happen. As far as cost, we don't have any choice in that, right? You're just gonna have to pay the bill. When it comes due, right? We aren't gonna search out.
Yeah.
We aren't,
Yeah.
you can't search out anybody. They're all gonna be busy, so.
Yeah.
You'll be lucky to find anybody in the next week or two. So, see what you can do, Race, and go from there.
You're gonna work with Ron then? A little bit to find somebody, or have you found people already?
Told to give Feet for a call, and outside of that,
Okay.
maybe if Bonings is, if they're not Bonings, maybe, I don't know. Someone's got trucks.
Peterson's from Vernon.
Protein still got
Pardon?
a dump truck, don't they?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they do. Yep. Mhm.
So they,
So if we probably haul out their pile there, maybe that would work. Yeah.
yep,
All right.
yeah, we could trade there.
Nothing else, Sunrise? All right, thank you. Water update from Brian Severance. Any,
He said he was gonna come tonight, but it's not here, so.
all righty. Down to community comment. Anybody with comment? Vicky?
Did the easement ever get put in place between the city and protein sources and the red iron? Did that ever get signed?
It got signed and got taken down to Blue Earth County.
It's all registered with Blue Earth County?
Last fall, we took it down there. We find it.
All right.
And then, the snow blower that you donated. Did you ever receive a tax credit for that? And that was back in 2021. Donating,
I think it was this past year.
it's right here. I got the minutes from the meetings. You want them?
It was brought up last year when Jake was here.
Yeah.
He never received a paper stating he had donated $1,500 to the city.
Okay.
Then back, I would like to see the check from the minutes of March 17th, 2021. Where we divided the cement up and Mariano said that the city owed Robert, because he paid for the big load, $6,500. And the city owed him $4,004.72. I looked through all our bank accounts and no check was ever deposited for that amount. And then there should have been a check from. They was $682. My scratch.
Probably won't want to issue any checks until this pending situation is over. That's all I can say right now.
What now?
We should not be issuing any checks to myself until the pending situation is over.
Okay, the motion was made and carried on all of these, and the other date is August 18th of 2021. So the city owes him $4,600.
Chris, would you want to look that over to see that's all in the minutes?
We can take a look at it and see if it's in the minutes. What would be appropriate is if she wants the information, if she makes a data request. And then we would provide the data to her at part of the request. Generally speaking, in a council meeting, people can't request production of documents. There's a form that we have them fill out. But all the information is public, so all the information would be provided.
Fill that form out during business hours to retain that?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just making a request, then you can make a request of all the documents that you're looking for, that the city would provide for those documents. In regards to the taxes, you can talk to your accountant, but the copy of the minutes should suffice for the IRS, because there's not going to be a donation form that's going to be provided from the city for tax purposes.
Well, according to the minutes of the meeting, it states that tax thing will be given to him.
It's just a pays per as a donation, right?
It's just basically a receipt for the donation.
Yeah.
But if your accountant's looking for something more specific, certainly the city could take a look into it.
All right. Anybody else?
Wondering if I could maybe work with Scott since he's been on a gambling and thing like that. Some of his license is taken care of. That'd be possible.
We're down at your Red Iron. Can help you on that.
Because a lot of this, some of this information I got has nothing to do with what I was looking for. And it has some sensitive information of my own on here. Between the three of us, we could get it taken care of.
I can help them out.
Yeah. That sounds fine.
I'm not sure exactly what they're talking about, but council helping work on something, that's fine.
In the 3Q license, I'm gonna say that. Is that we need a license to manufacture gambling machines for $1,500? That won't be any good.
Yeah, like I said, from what you're describing, I don't see any problem with that, but I don't know that in the council meeting, they're all the details and stuff right now.
I just would like to have more people involved.
That's
Anything else? I haven't heard anything happened there at all.
No, they're waiting to finish closing on Lake before they move forward with Fifth Thunder. And haven't stated either way if they're gonna accept our offer or counter offer.
Is that offer still good with Mike Drummer?
Last I knew, but I haven't talked to Mike Drummer since they submitted our offer to the school. I think.
All right. I suppose it'll take a while, Maureen, to find all this out during the winter months, maybe. I mean, I thought Minnesota Lake was said and done, but obviously the paperwork wasn't done. Anybody know?
We had a rumor
Yeah,
that
they ran off, yeah.
it wasn't all as easy as they thought.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. All right. Anybody else as far as community comment? If not, we can move on to unfinished business, meeting with the sheriff department, update if any.
So the sheriff reached out to me. He said if council wants to meet, he's available. I think before. or if you want an evening, Monday or Wednesday evenings would be great. So just to shoot them some dates. and things like that.
We have to go through, what were you say, there were codes or?
Well, I was just thinking that since we've got a committee, I don't know if everybody's here or not tonight, but. That volunteered to go through the codes, we should probably let them do that first. And then. So the sheriff's department would have an enforceable code, hopefully. They can go through, clean it up, send it to Chris. Chris can. Make whatever changes are necessary. So that,
Yeah, I think you can do both. You can talk to the sheriff about what he'd feel comfortable with and what he would say, what he's willing to do for his department. At the same time, get public input regarding the code, and then obviously the council will take a look at that and we can make those revisions.
okay,
So yeah,
so we can do that too then.
like a committee would be wonderful.
Where it stands now, our contract with them, that says they're not gonna enforce our codes.
The contract with them says that the code will not be enforced, but that's something we can change when
Yeah.
the code happens as well.
Yeah.
Does
I
it
know,
come,
Sheriff.
Right. And one of the things you'd be looking at in the code is whether or not you want to require in the code that it has to be enforced by your law enforcement agency, whoever that may be. So if we get away from the language of that, enforcement code, you may give other provisions, other personnel in the city more ability to enforce the code.
does this council have to highlight maybe some specific things like junk cars, junkyards? To put our 50 cents into that committee, to make sure that gets in there.
Right.
I think so, yeah, right.
But I think you can make notes and for everything you want there or not. I guess if it was me on the council, I'd want the citizens to give us all the kind of recommendations of stuff they want. If there's a question that you have, do we need to be more or less stringent regarding vehicles or something where the council's looking for specific direction, I think that'd be appropriate. But if there's things that the council wants to address, I guess I'd probably wait to see public comment and you'd have an opportunity to address everything before it gets passed.
They are-
A strong way of doing it. You can, whatever makes.
They made it clear when we hired them, they weren't gonna come out for barking dogs, right? So
That's what I remember.
Yeah.
So that'll never be probably part of it, we can't expect them to come from Mankato for a barking dog, unless it's. An habitual one that's every night, and maybe during the day, they could stop in when they're in town and tell that person we've had numerous complaints. I mean, is that the kind of stuff they're looking for?
I think what the code enforcement's more like the rent, somebody renting a place without a license that they're not gonna look at enforcing. I would assume if you have a habitually barking dog that they would enforce it even if they said they didn't. Because there's a state statute that would make that a criminal act that they'd be required to enforce.
All right,
Civil code violation, concerns about enforcing or some of the nuisance properties for which would be both criminal and civil in nature that they may not feel comfortable.
okay. Any other questions about sheriff department?
But as far as in the city code, what I think it's chapter 3 where it talks about the police chief. And all the things we no longer have.
Mhm.
Is we can just go in and modify that basically to get rid of all of that and just say. As per contract with Blue Earth County Sheriff, as far as public safety. Or is it more complicated than that?
I think we want to make it a little bit more general than that. Because what you don't want to do is it's possible that a future city council would determine. That we want to go back to having a police department, the size of the city doubles in size and. I don't know that would happen, but you don't want to have language in there that's going to cause a future council to have the same problems that you're having.
Okay,
So for that, we don't want to necessarily mention, what we could probably do is put language in there that says that whether we have a police department of our own. Or that if we can contract to the sheriff's department. So we give both options and then the contract would prevail.
okay, all right.
You would have to draw that up probably then.
Yeah.
I would recommend that I take a look at it. But there's nothing that states that I have to draw it up. And when we get to the final draft, but I think, for costs and for everything else for the city, I think it's better. If you have the citizen committee work, you guys do your individual work. When we get a couple months down the road, closer to when we're looking at putting the final language together. That's where my expertise becomes. Where I can talk to what things you have to have by statute and what kind of language make it appropriate.
Do we have to have Well, we haven't done our committees yet, but do we have to have two people that's gonna go down and meet with the sheriff's department?
Should have, probably, yep.
Would we ever
Yeah.
invite them out here in front of the whole council? Would they ever drive out?
Well, when I messaged him, it was about meeting with the full council, because I kind of assumed you all would want to have a say in what you were discussing.
Because one of the big problems is cars sitting for weeks or campers sitting in front of houses forever.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that, and it's awful hard unless we got to get something in writing, so either we can call the record, you know, to get it, or,
And that's what we're looking to do. And
Yeah.
so having the conversation with the sheriff makes a lot of sense to
right,
see
yeah,
what they would feel comfortable doing and whether or not they'd be willing to modify the contract.
Yeah.
Because quite frankly, we don't know. We know what, Sheriff Peterson felt. I honestly don't know what Sheriff Worcel feels on those type of issues and whether or not he's going to share the same thing that Peterson did.
Well,
we should get this sheet up and then ask to meet with them.
The sheriff, we come every month.
In front of the council would be nice, I think.
Well, we get at the end.
A standard?
Yep.
Okay, a spreadsheet that
Yeah.
call and list there. Okay. I thought this was it. We should get more than that.
so
Okay.
get them committee together, some input from us, get that all drawn up, then invite the sheriff out for the meeting night. So do we have a list of the people that are that committee, who they all are?
I remember who they all are. but-
So we're following things. What you probably need to do first is do a motion to establish the committee.
Yeah.
And then at your next meeting, then you would select the committee members, because then we'd have a public record indicating that people can then apply for the committee that's been established.
How many committee members would it be? Just 5 or 4 or 3 or
You
I
can.
think there's
odd
five.
number?
I think there's 5.
I would think,
If you're
I think there was 5 that volunteered, and then Tom volunteered to kind of
right,
sit in for a couple.
just shepherd a little bit.
Yeah, you can pick the number that you think is appropriate. There's no magic numbers. You usually do odd numbers in case there's a vote, so they're not tied. If you have a council member that's going to be there, I would suggest you do a council liaison, so they're there, they can kind of give input, but they're not voting because they'll have an opportunity to vote when you're
Right.
actually on the council.
Was there pretty good interest from the individual?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had, like I say, we had people that immediately volunteered, and then Brian Petty's wife, Sue. Sue called and wanted to be on it too. So that would be the 5th one.
Okay. Do we have to name them, or do we just make a motion to have that committee established?
You would make the motion tonight to have the committee established.
Yeah.
And then you would basically put out notice for the next meeting for people to make application to be on the committee.
Okay,
And then next meeting, you would have the opportunity to appoint 5 people or 7 people, how many people you establish on the committee.
we never ever had this problem with too many volunteers, but wonder if we have 7 or 8. And we only want 5.
We can do whatever we want, or we can
Pick
put
the-
7 on.
Okay, all right.
If you have 7 or 8 and you only want 5, you get to pick the 5 members that you want to have on the council.
Yeah.
Or on the committee.
And how would that be done?
Election, you guys each have a vote and then you vote on it.
Okay. All right, so
Usually it's done by consensus and the council kind of comes to an idea of what to do ahead of time, but if it's not, I can think of North Mankato, like Crystal, where they've had multiple members that want to be, people want to be the EDA. Or there's been an opening on the council, it ends up being a vote.
We got to remember the code book's that thick. So we can kind of divide up, there's 7 or 8 or 9 or whatever. It can be divided up if that's the desire. And if not, that's fine too. Just go.
more
through it section
enthusiasm,
by-
the better, really.
Yeah, we'll go through it section by section,
All right,
Can you go,
Because-
for applicants for credentials, like there was a couple of them that,
You
one of them's got police background, so he's gonna know that code.
have each of the applicants give you a little short application. You can either have a set application sent together. Or have them just submit something. Why do you want to be on here? What background do you have?
all right. Well, with that said, somebody like to make a motion?
to that establish that committee. I'll make that motion.
All right, someone second?
And that's an advisory committee to review the code or under city code.
All right, did you second that, Scott?
Yep.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Robert, can I ask a question on this one? If there's something that would impact my business with ordinances on buying and selling, some cities do. I would like to be asked about it before it is set in stone. Some places have it so that you can't buy gold and silver, things like that. That would greatly affect my business. And if something like that was gonna be added to the ordinances, I would like to have some input in it.
But for the process, when the committee is meeting, these would be public meetings, so people can, who aren't even on the committees can be there and will certainly be able to voice opinions. Before there can be any changes to the code itself, I'll come back in front of the council. And since you should have plenty of opportunity, as long as you're following what's on the council agenda, that there's not gonna be any kind of surprises on that.
And I think in order to add a new ordinance, it would have to be published too, wouldn't it?
If we make any changes to the code, that's all gonna be through ordinance, that will all be published. And all be part of the public hearing, so that'll have to be a
Public hearing. So it'd be kind of a big process.
So Grant,
I just don't want any surprises. I'm gonna find
Right,
out that it's gonna have a detrimental effect on what we do.
Sure, and once the committee is established, if you have specific concerns that you want them to keep in mind, there's nothing that would prevent you from sending them a written response saying, here's my concerns, how are these gonna be addressed, and they may have questions, they may want to ask you specifically how that works.
I don't see this happening, but I just, to answer the question.
well, it's a good thing to bring it up now,
Yeah.
and that way. Everybody can be aware of that already, so. All right. New business then, 2023 council committees. The new guys probably want them all.
Not particularly. Just days and see who gets.
I'd kind of like to stay on the streets and the waters. In town and haven't worked with it all before.
Okay, well, we'll go from the top then, Ron.
Okay, yeah,
Water, sewer and garbage. I don't know who was on there last year.
I was.
Look at you, Robert.
I was gonna say, I think it was you, Robert.
Yeah. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
You guys are all right with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Streets, sidewalks and alleys.
I know I was on it last year.
I'll help with streets.
She was Scott.
Yep.
All right, Scott and Ron. Recreation and parks.
I know I was.
I can help with that one.
Tom and John. Personnel committee, well, we're all that, right?
Right. And then there's the administrative committee, right?
Oh, yeah, we added that.
And I know I'm on that. The administration committee, administrative, however.
Somebody else want to join Tom on the administrative committee?
I would like to ask John if he would.
Me?
Yeah.
Okay, what is the administrative committee?
It's, you review the bills
Oh,
and
okay,
review the check register and the reconciliation.
perfect.
Along with that, bills and that, do we see all the revenues? Like, should there ever be a time that you look at the bank's deposit book for the months? I mean, I've never seen one of them ever. Would that ever be out here to look at that?
The admin committee gets it, like our bank recons.
Well, the deposit book that you deposit.
Yep, so the bank recon, that will have that on it, like the actual bank
Like
statement.
this year. This is a report out of Banyan
Okay,
that show
Actually-
beginning.
I think Robert's asking to see the actual one from the bank.
It is, if you look at
That's
those pages in there,
Okay.
Yeah.
those 5 pages, I think of things. And then it's the whole thing.
but these are all, but these are the accounts. Where are the deposits? Where are the deposits that we get?
It's on page, I think, like 6 of the bank statement.
Page 6?
I think so, like of the actual bank statement. Keep flipping. It's the US Bank one. Keep going.
Maybe this one. That's the deposits there, right?
Yep.
Yep, okay. That we haven't ever had before, right?
We've had it for like the last 6 months since the last audit. Burkhart asked that the admin committee review it for us council meetings.
Did that come in our packet?
No,
Oh, okay,
Sarah had reviewed this.
okay,
And that's what I was doing tonight.
yeah, okay. All right.
Who actually gets that?
It's laying here.
No, but does that come just to city office or does it go to?
If it comes to city hall, I have to do the bank recon through Banyan. It prints a report, they go together, and then the admin committee reviews that. Whether it's, they want to come in or they review at the night of the meeting.
What's Banyan?
That's our billing. So our fund accounting, our utility accounting and our payroll. One.
Can that report sent to another one on that admit committee too?
I don't, we've never sent them out. They've just been in here to review.
It's just been laying here.
Yeah.
Well, while we're on this, because it's what I was gonna have or asked to have added, under miscellaneous business. So the past 2 years and the past 2 audits, we've been hit for lack of internal controls. Geez, now I go blank.
Segregation of duties.
There we go, thank you. So I was talking with Scott one day and he said the fire department, where they actually sent the bank statement to an individual
For my account,
that he's involved with. I would strongly suggest that we do something similar where the banks, so the bank statement and canceled checks, I'm assuming come in one, the same mailing, I would assume.
Yeah, they have photocopies of the canceled
Right,
checks. They don't
okay.
send the actual checks anymore.
Right, is to have them sent to the city of Good Thunder, but only do it in care of me and send it to my house. I can do initial review, then bring them to you, then you can do your actual reconciliation. Because if we go, I would think if we go 3 years in a row with similar findings on our audit, I don't know. That just, it's starting to look really, really bad for the city.
And that's one of the reasons why this started about 6 months ago. Was as a result of one of those.
Right, but our problem is, so we, with an office of one person, we can't have any segregation of duties, basically, because it's impossible. So we have to come up with some kind of workaround. So if we did the bank statements to me first, I can do brief review, I can do review the canceled checks. That way there's a separate set of eyes and it's actually adding to an internal control on the accounting side, which would be been lacking. And then but I would think that would take a motion to have those statements sent to me. But
You might want to talk to Burkhart to make sure that that's going to category, that little hit you receive every year. Most towns of your size receive the same thing because there just isn't staff there.
okay,
The only concern that I would have is having any city documents mailed to a
right,
council member's home. I think it'd be better off having it mailed here, care of, so that person's opening it.
oh, okay, that,
I would still be coming to city hall.
yeah, I like that. a
Would
lot.
you oppose just coming up here for a
No.
morning, John, and
No.
reviewing what he just said, right? Would that be?
Yeah, it'd be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I suggest that having Ashley contact Burkhart and see whether or not that's going to help them or if that's a best practice as they see it.
okay,
I don't see anything wrong legally with it, but
okay, yeah.
you're trying to
Yes, I like,
satisfy them.
yeah, because I like that a lot better than having any of it come to my house, so. Okay. That and same thing with payroll processing. I would like to sit down with you one time when you're going through that, just so. I don't know, just to look and see where else we can come up with some kind of internal controls, you know. Because that helped, that they protect the city, but they also, you know, protect the employees too,
Mhm.
but primarily for the city, so.
Yep, more involvement, I'd say would be top notch, really. Make it, you know, make it better.
It require a motion or anything, does it?
I don't think so at this point, because I think
Okay.
it's additional information from
Yeah.
Bernard. And then if we have, we want to put a policy in place, we can put a policy in place after that.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a good framework for going forward, but I think it's probably next meeting that you would approve that.
Sounds good. All right, we'll get back to our committees, posting places, City Hall, Good Thunder Post Office and social media. Three is adequate, right?
Be adequate, yeah.
Yep, all right. Does anybody want to change any of that? Not? Move on to fire chief is police, Phil Clammer. Acting mayor. Go to Tom, right?
Or Ron?
I think Tom would love that. Tom would love that.
Well, as long as you're back here, yeah. okay.
Yeah.
It'll be all right.
All right. Official newspaper would be the Maple River Messenger. Is that all right with everybody yet? Okay, official bank is US Bank. I mean, over the years, we've talked about moving that. And nothing's ever happened. Is that something, well, for now, we'll leave it here, but is that still something in the future you wanna change?
I think that with John's more involvement and whatnot, maybe we can look at that more.
We got a note on that, John? Got a note on that? That's more work for you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think you'll understand better how much work it takes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Changing banks is a very.
and it could be not worth it, you know?
Because your payroll tax has to come out of there, all that has to come out of there, that all has to be
Changing all
changed
the
up.
accounts.
Yep. So, all right, US,
Set up a checking account for the first time today. It's 19. It took them an hour and a half, so I would imagine it'll take several hours to
Yeah.
change from one bank to another.
I would guess, yeah.
Have we had problems with them or? With US?
They're big. They're always hard to communicate with. It's different than working with somebody local. If my guess and actually.
I haven't had any problems with them. They got us a check reader and so that cuts back on bank runs for us and they're very willing to help whenever there's an issue, so.
only thoughts I have is US Bank don't even know where Good Thunder, Minnesota is, and if you go to some of the local banks. You're supporting our area. You know, US Bank is what, nationwide? So, you know, little people don't take care of little people. It's not gonna be good at the end. That's only my thoughts.
Yeah, well, it's worth looking into, but I think
Yeah.
that, you know,
Right,
we
yep.
need to investigate how much work it is
Yeah.
to do. you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's like community bank. I mean, they got bank in Mankato and Amboy, Vernon.
Yeah.
You know, and
Get a bank to come.
and it's a short run.
Make it worth the change.
All right, somebody make a motion then to approve these committee member changes? Someone a second,
Second.
all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. All right. Anything else under new business? We have a B, but there it's blank, so is there anything new? We can move on to miscellaneous business. There's A is a consideration of request for proposal for a new city attorney by John Rudy.
Yeah, that was just something that came up. It was in minutes from last meeting, the meeting before, and I think that special meeting. So it's been brought up.
Yeah.
And I don't know what kind of contract we have. I don't know how long have you been the city attorney?
I don't know for certain. I don't remember. I think it's been well over 12 years.
Oh, my.
Yeah, so it's been for quite a while. Basically, it's at will.
Okay.
It's not a formal contract that we've had. any particular time. Rates have kind of stayed the same and of that nature. The work has gone up the last couple of years for various reasons, but and take a look at that, but you obviously have the opportunity if you want to do requests for proposals and or whatever the case you may want to do.
That's something we want to act on tonight, take it under consideration, make a motion to proceed forward.
I was gonna ask John if he thought he would make the motion.
Well, no, I just wanted to bring it up because it's been coming up in the past few meetings I've been, attending, so. Or keep it on the table to see if, community members want to reach out to council between now and the next meeting. I don't know. It's just.
Sounds good. Do that.
Maybe Chris can write down what his hourly fees are. I don't know how he even runs. Is it hourly or?
It's hourly and
Okay.
it's on a bill every single month. I have to go back and double look at it.
That way we can compare to apples
Yeah.
to see where we're sitting.
All right, B is audit findings, segregation of duties. I think we kind of touched on that a little bit.
The rest of the other one.
Yep, okay, so. All righty. Anything else under miscellaneous then, anybody? Wow, the first meeting of the year and it's not even gonna take an hour? Something wrong here.
Another one to go yet.
You still have the closed meeting to go through yet.
Yep, all right, well. Thanks for everybody coming tonight and,
I'll move, we adjourn.
all right,
Actually, not moving.
Oh, okay, I'll do that.
do we need a second on that?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carried. All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Robert, Scott, and John.
You're welcome.
This is the money we got set aside.
Yeah, that's in the money market. That's, yeah, I see that son of a bitch.